Hey guys, it's Andy, and today I'm going to show you how to register scans together with Register 360. So I've gotten a lot of requests to do a little more content on Register 360. So today I wanted to do this follow-along tutorial where I give you the same data that I'm working with so that you can follow right along on your computer with exactly what I'm doing. This is going to be somewhat of an in-depth tutorial, so if you want to skip to any specific part, I'll put the timestamps in the description. Today I'm working with BLK360 data, but the same process would work with BLK to go, RTC360, or even P-series scan data. If you're looking to follow along, the first thing you need to do is get a hold of Register 360. If you don't already have it, I'll put a link in the description. You can go ahead and download a free trial to get started. The second thing you need to do is download the same data that I'm working with. So you can do that with the second link in the description. The file is about 5 gigs, so feel free to pause this video until that's downloaded. All right, so let's dive right in. So you should have this same file that I have here. It's called Stewart House, and it has 24 raw BLK files in it. So now what I'm going to do is open up Register 360. And I don't have any projects in here, so I'm going to start a new one and call it Stewart House. And there are a couple different things I can look at before importing. What I can do is go into my settings and go to cloud to cloud, and I can change these two options here. Iterations I have pretty high, 1,000, and then for search radius, I don't know why this is such a weird number. Maybe I could do 2 feet. And then I'm going to click OK. So that just changes how much time and how the program will try to fit these together automatically on import. So now what I'm going to do is just drag and drop this folder into this import box here. And now you can see all the scans that it's going to import. For the import options, there are a couple options. I don't have any targets in this data set, so I'm going to uncheck black and white target. I am going to run auto cloud. Depending on your scan, this may work well, it may not work well, but in this case, I think it's worth trying to see if we can save some time. So I'm going to leave that checked, and then I'm going to go ahead and click import. All right, so that just finished importing, and it gives me this box here that says it successfully put some scans together. So I'm going to click OK and see what it did here. The initial view is I'm in a sitemap, so I'm seeing all the scans from above, and it's started to put a couple of these scans into different bundles. So it figured out that these three go together here. So what I can do is click on one of these, hover over this little sitemap button, and click on Bundle Cloud. And now I can see in 3D what this cloud looks like. To navigate around, the left mouse button pivots you around whatever point that you click on, and then the right mouse button pans in whatever plane you're on. So I can scroll with my mouse to zoom in. And this looks really good. So all these are in the correct place. I can go back out to my sitemap. Let's check on this one. This one looks, for the most part, pretty good, but you can tell that there are some wrong links here because it put this room in the middle of the space here. So what I'm going to do is, I can't really tell what's what, so I'm going to click on one of these scans and say delete links. So it kind of just deletes everything from this setup. So now I can kind of clean this up a little bit. So this looks pretty good. Let me see here. Doesn't make sense that there would be 2 scans right there. If I want to look at any one of these scans in particular, I can go into Show in Cloud Viewer. Oops, I have this turned off. You can toggle animations on and off. I'm going to toggle it on because it's kind of cool. So that's where you saw it kind of zoom up slowly. So if I go into this scan again, it'll slowly zoom down into it, which is sometimes pretty nice. It looks like there's a couple scans on top of each other right there, so I'm going to clean this up too. I'm going to delete this link and get this scan out of there. Yeah, that's the bathroom, that shouldn't be there. Okay. So all of this looks correct. You can see I can go into the garage. Okay, that's good. So that bundle looks good. I have a couple extra scans here. This is an outdoor scan. That's an outdoor scan. And this is an indoor scan of the closet. So the first thing that I do is I separate the outdoor scans from the indoor scans. So I'm going to create a little pile over here. My favorite thing about Register 360 is the fact that it's really visual and you can kind of move things around in this sitemap. So I'm going to kind of drag and drop these over here. It's pretty easy to see what has trees and what doesn't. In this case, it automatically put an exterior scan and connected it with the interior scans. So I'm going to separate it because it just makes cleaning easier. Once I do that, you'll see what I mean. So this is all indoor, and I do have one scan right here that is the doorway scan between outdoor and indoor. And I'm going to separate that from the same bundle, and I'll show you why in a second here. Delete that link. So this is I don't know, we'll call it like a hybrid scan or something like that. And there should be one other hybrid scan at the front of the house. There's a little, you can see a little preview of the image on the right here. Sometimes that helps out when you're looking for a particular scan. I don't think these are in the right spot either, so I'm going to delete this link. And then this is the other hybrid scan that I was looking for. So this scan bridges the inside with the front yard. So that's another one that I'm going to separate out and makes it easier to clean in a second. So these are my two middle scans, and then here are all my indoor scans, and here are all my outdoor scans. So the first thing I'm going to do is put together the outside. So I know that this is the front of the house here. To rotate, just like I did, what I'm going to do is click on one of these red handles, the scan points, hold Shift, click and hold, and then you can rotate around that point. So I'm going to square this up. I know that this is in the backyard, and I can rotate it like this and get it pretty close. And when I move it close to where it should be, you'll notice that Register 360 can already tell that there's some overlapping data. So it's going to put in this ghost link here. So what I can do is click on that ghost link, and then I have a couple new options at the bottom. I'm going to click Visual Alignment, and now it brings you into a view where one of the scans is blue and one is orange. And this makes it really easy to manually line them up to where they should be. So the first view that I'm in here is top down, and I'm in this little north, south, east, west. I can move it in this plane. So what I'm going to do is look for a certain feature, like a corner or something like this, that I can rotate around. So I know that that's the end of the fence there. I'm going to line that up just like that. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I can see that I'm not rotated quite correctly. So I'm going to switch to the rotation button here, click exactly on what the point that's already lined up, and now I can rotate around that point. So that's where it should be. So now it's lined up in the X and Y, but I need to make sure that the elevations are correct. Initially, they're going to put them all on the same elevation, so if you're working on one single floor, it's almost always going to be perfect, but because these are outdoors and the ground isn't level, I'm going to probably have to tweak this a little bit. So if I'm in the rotation mode, you'll rotate around these two, and I can see right here I need to move the blue one down a little bit, so I'm going to switch to this key and move this down to line that roof line up. So now it's lined up in both X, Y, and the Z direction, so I'm going to click Join and Optimize. So that looks good right there. It could be improved, but I'm going to show you how to improve that in a second. Click OK. And then I just move my way around the house. So this one goes right about here. So it has some overlapping data with all three of these scans, but I'm going to have the most overlap with these two. I'm going to do the same thing. And this, you don't have to get these perfectly aligned. The computer will do most of the work for you, but you just have to give it a starting point. So that looks pretty good right there. The side view. It's probably lined up. So one of the tricks that I use, especially with ground that's not level, is as you move it up, you can definitely see a point where there's more blue, and all of a sudden the orange takes over. So right in the middle of that is where the clouds are lining up. I'm going to click Join and Optimize. If you're not completely clear where this scan is supposed to be and you can't really tell from the image over here, I can go into Cloud View, it zooms you down, and I can tell exactly where this is. Oops. So I know that this goes like this. My rotation is pretty good already. I don't need to. And you'll notice that I was able to switch between these two buttons automatically. I'm using the tilde key just below the escape key, toggles between these two. So that speeds things up quite a bit. In the side view, I can see that roof line, match it up right there. All right, last one. So right off the bat, it's not giving me the ghost link that I want between these two, but I can still create a link between them. So I've got this one selected and it's blue. Now I'm going to hold Control and click this one, and now those two are highlighted, and then I have the same visual alignment button at the bottom, so I can do exactly what I want. So I can line this part up right here. Rotate that in. So I can see the roof line here, but this is a good example of this where you can see the ground switch from blue to orange. So right where that happens is where these two should go together. It also will look for other overlapping scans, and it will try to create those links too if you want. In this case, I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to click no. To close the loop, what I can do here is highlight this one and do visual alignment. Because everything is already registered together, these are going to be like pretty close anyway, so I hardly have to look at it. I don't have to adjust anything. It should be pretty close. I might align this, or that might not supposed to be lined up. Looks good. So when I close the loop like that, sometimes what can happen is it'll pull one link out of tolerance. So we don't necessarily want that, but I'm going to show you. So this is a personal preference, but I don't like looking at this in feet and inches. I really like metric for this stuff. So you can change that here in the settings pretty easily. So there are a couple things you can do to increase the accuracy of this, but we're going to do that after each of these parts is registered together. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to the indoor data. So this initial part right here, I can see this is the front living room. I'm missing a scan here. This is the kitchen, and then through to the garage. So now I can just start adding scans where they need to go. So this is the bathroom. So I know that the bathroom comes off of this hallway right here. So this has the least overlapping data in this whole data set. So this is the one you have to be careful with. So I'm going to highlight the scan right in front of the hallway. I'll go into it just to give you an idea of where we are. Oops. So this is the hallway, this is the bathroom door right here, and then this is the living room and kitchen. So what I need to do is line this up and then see what kind of data is overlapping here. So I can see that definitely this hallway wall here is good, and then what I'm really going to do is line up this the side of this doorway right here. So I'm going to line that up and then switch to my rotation, and then just make sure that the wall is lined up really well. Might need to move it over just a tad. And then these are indoors, so they're going to be almost on the same level all the time. And then see what that looks like. So that's a really good fit. I'm really happy with that, so that looks good. All right, next up is this little bundle here. So this is, if I hop into it, I can see this is the other end of the hallway, and I can connect it to the other scan that happened right over there. One of the nice things about these animations on how it transitions from the top view into the scan is that you can see exactly how the scan is oriented. Sometimes it's not so obvious if it just cuts straight to it. So if I'm not sure how this should be oriented, when I show in Cloud Viewer, I can see that the end of the hallway is facing directly up. So I know that this needs to be flipped around. I'm going to drag it in here. It's not giving me the ghost link that I want, but I want to connect this scan to this scan. And so now I can do this corner here. All right, so now it connected that bundle. So these three scans were a bundle before, and all of these other scans were already a bundle. And when we connected them, now they're one full bundle here. All right, so this bathroom that has been lingering, this is actually connected to this bedroom right here, so I can slide this in here, and I have that ghost link. Same thing, I just line up this corner. All right, everything's looking good. This is the living room. Oriented like this. This is one of the bedrooms. All right, so this is one where it's not super clear how it's oriented. So this is where these animations really help. So I can see that I know how this should be. So it's going to be this room right here. And when I hop into this cloud, I can see that this is oriented in the right way. So they're both oriented in the correct direction, so I can move this like this. Line up this corner here. Oops. All right, so everything here is looking good. One more scan. This is the closet. And this goes right here. Just like that. And then it connects to that one. All right, so now everything in the house is linked together. There are different ways I would organize these links. So I would probably, I know that these two have the most overlap, so I'm going to just run a visual alignment and create this link really quick. I don't necessarily believe that these two have the most overlapping data. They probably have plenty, but because they don't have the most, I'm going to delete it just to clean things up. I'm going to delete this link too. I'm going to delete this link. I'm going to delete this link. So this is how I would set up all my links. If I want to click on one of these, I can go into Bundle Cloud and I can see what everything looks like here. So I can zoom around, make sure everything looks good. If I want to, what I can do is use this True Slicer tool. This will make each scan a different color, and I can go into orthographic and it'll create a slice basically, so you can just make sure that everything is lining up correctly. And this looks really good, and you can like move the slice up and down through the cloud. And this will just make it really obvious if any of your scans is not quite correct. So I can see everything here is lining up really well. All right, back to the sitemap. So now I have my exterior scans, my interior scans, and then my two scans that will connect these two bundles together. So now I'm going to show you how to clean these up. Cleaning up is a little bit easier to do when these are separated, so that's why I kept them apart. As for cleaning up this interior scan, what you can do is delete the trees for the registration process, but keep the data. So it'll just ignore the data when it's trying to register these together, but the data will still be there, so it'll still look nice. The point cloud will still look good. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into my bundle cloud. I can see that everything looks really good, but I want to tighten up these links a little bit, and I can do that by deleting everything that's not a stable surface. So I'm going to switch to orthographic mode here. So I'm looking straight down on the house, and then I'm going to use my fence tool. You can choose between a rectangular, circular, or polygon. I really like polygon, so I'm going to choose that one. Now I'm just going to make a quick fence around the house, and you don't have to be super accurate here. Okay, so now it highlights the inside of the house. And in this case, I just want to get rid of the points for the cloud-to-cloud processing. So I still want the trees in there for any screenshots that I want to do and stuff like this. I want it to look nice. So I'm going to uncheck Edit Visual Points, and I'm going to check Edit Cloud-to-Cloud Points. And I'm going to say Delete Outside. So now it's ignoring all of these trees for the cloud-to-cloud. So if I want to click on this link, and if I go back into visual alignment, you can see there's no trees anymore. So it's just using these points for the optimization. So that's a much better solution for putting these two clouds together. And then you can do that for all of them. You can go and highlight the bundle and just say Optimize Bundle, and it redoes this cloud-to-cloud alignment for each link. Take a look, everything looks really good. I can get rid of these bubbles and these links using these little toggles up here. So as for actual cleaning before I put these together, the reason that I kept them separate is you should never trust any data that's taken through Windows because the refraction is really impossible to correct for, so this data is not really usable in any way, so I want to delete it. First I'm going to use a limit box, so that's this little button over here. So this is the limit box tool, so now I can start to cut away at my cloud. I just drag this over. The limit box tool is really cool because if I hold shift, it gets rid of the three faces that are closest to me, and now I can edit the back faces without having to rotate around. So I'm going to cut these in a little bit like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just hide the roof here like that. Now what I can do is I don't have to get rid of this particular limit box. I can just hide it with this little view toggle. So I'm going to turn it off. Now I can see all of this data that was captured through the windows from the outside. It's a little dark against the black background, so I can change the color of the point cloud to either the intensity view, which is makes things really easy to see. I can also do grayscale. That sometimes looks really nice, but for what we're doing right now, intensity is best. So I'm going to switch to orthographic, looking straight down. Can make sure I'm looking down from the top. And now I'm going to use my limit box again. I'm going to use the polygon tool and just go through. Highlight everything. Now it's still set to edit cloud-to-cloud points. I don't want this, I want the actual visual points. So this is going to delete the points. I can always get them back if I need to, but this is actually going to delete the points from the cloud. I won't see them anymore. So I'm going to delete inside this box right here. All right, so now everything's gone. So inside of the house looks really clean. Back out to the sitemap, I'm going to do the same thing with the inside scans, but in reverse. So I'm going to go into bundle cloud here. So I can see that there's some data that was captured through the windows of the outside. So I can see some trees here, some of the ground. I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to go to orthographic, switch to top-down view. And then I'm going to use the same tool. All right, so now it's highlighted the inside. So this is where it's, you have to be a little bit diligent. Now I want to delete the outside. So this is, I'm going to click delete outside. And now all that data is gone. So if I go back, look at it, there was sometimes this happens with certain types of lights. You'll get some data above the cloud. I can go ahead and clean that up by going to a, let's say, right view, and basically the same thing. And I want to delete outside. So that looks really good. It looks really clean. So now I can actually put these two data sets together. So I'm going to go back out to my sitemap, turn on my scan locations. So the first thing I'm going to do is put these hybrid scans onto my interior data. So this, I'm going to switch back to the color from the scanner. If I go in here, I can see that this is the backyard, and this is the kind of the hallway into the garage here. So this will go right about here. And I want to connect it to that scan. Okay, and then this one is the front porch. So this is in the doorway, going from the front porch into the house. So this goes on the other side, and I wanted to connect to that one. Once you're in the visual alignment, it becomes pretty clear how these go together, so I can see that that goes right there. Switch to my rotation tool, and then okay, so now I can drag this over onto the big bundle. This is where like things will go crazy because there's so much overlapping data. It's going to find a lot of ghost links. So this is where I like to individually select the ones I want. So I'm going to select this one and this exterior one. I'm going to line up the exterior walls here at that point. And then dial it in. Looks good right there. So now everything is one single bundle, but it's really, I like, it's just some philosophy. I really like to close the loop at least twice, so I like to have a link through one door and then out another door. So I'm going to try to match those two up. You can see that because it's already registered as one bundle, these are going to be like pretty dead on anyway. So I'm just kind of making sure that that's true. They are, so I'm going to hit optimize. That looks good. Okay, so now I'm happy with this. It's going to be one single bundle. If I go into bundle cloud, now I can see the outside, and then I can zoom inside and everything is lined up. So the next thing I'm going to do, you can see, this is a good segue. This data right here is not in the right spot. It's because it's a reflection from the bathroom mirror. So this is where I have to do a little bit of internal cleaning. This is why it's important to go through and make sure everything looks good. Because if I were to hand this off to a client, or if I try to create a Revit model, it might not be so obvious what this scan data is right here. So there are a couple ways to do this. I could use the limit box, kind of like segment this out, and then delete it. But because I know where this is coming from, I can clean it out of the individual scan, which is what I like to do with mirrors in particular. So let's turn on our scan positions, and I know this data is coming from this mirror, so I can go in here. If I go into the cloud viewer, I'm not viewing the bundle anymore. I'm only looking at this cloud. So if I delete anything, it's only from this cloud. So what I can do here is go into this position. I can turn off the image. So now I'm just viewing the scan data. And I can zoom out a little bit. And now I can just delete the mirror. So what I'm going to do is just use this tool. There's some paper towel here. I honestly don't need the paper towel, so I'm just going to delete it. Delete inside. So now I can look around, make sure there's still a little bit coming off right there. One thing I could do is do it just like I did the other ones. Okay, so that looks good. Now I can go back into the bundle cloud and make sure that everything is deleted. So I still have a little bit of something going on here. I've done this before, so I know where it's coming from, but initially I didn't. So one trick that I used to figure out this is you can color each scan by the setup. So now it'll make each setup a different color. Now I can see that this is coming from a green scan. So now I can go through to these different scan positions. You can see that's pink. So this is the green scan. So somehow, oh yeah, so I can see a little bit of the mirror through this door, and that's what's creating that reflection into the kitchen. So what I can do, turn on these positions, show in cloud viewer. So now I'm just viewing this particular cloud, and now I can delete this without having the other scans in my way. All right, so now that's gone. If for any reason you ever run into the case where you deleted something that you didn't want, what I can do is on this setup, right click, and I can restore the deleted points that I deleted. So I can restore separately the visual points or the cloud to cloud points. One quick thing that I wanted to show you, I don't necessarily need to do it with this data set, but it's a really cool feature in Register 360, is this smooth surface cleaning tool. So let me get rid of everything here. So let's say you wanted to get rid of something in your cloud, for example, this table. So I'm going to delete this table. I can use this smooth surface tool. It's right here on the end of the toolbar. Initially it's going to turn everything gray, and I just have to double click on a smooth surface. So I'm going to double click right here. All right, so it turned that smooth surface gray, and all the other points are red. And now I can go ahead and make a quick fence around this table. And when I say delete inside, it's going to delete the red points, but it's going to leave the gray points untouched. So now it gets rid of that table without getting rid of the floor beneath it. So super useful. It's also worth knowing that if you can see, it only really creates this smooth surface in this particular area. And if I want to extend it further, all I need to do is double click on part of the red, and it's going to recalculate and push that smooth surface further. Once you're done, you just click the smooth surface tool again. It'll process really quick, and then your cloud will look much better. Now this looks really good. The table's just deleted from all scans, and it's a super useful tool. All right, pretty much done. I'm almost ready to push this off and export it for AutoCAD or Revit. One thing I do want to show you in case it's helpful, when I rotate this around, it's not really editing the coordinate system, but you can create a specific coordinate system if you want things lined up in AutoCAD or Revit. So what I'm going to do here is click on one of these setups, so it's highlighted, and then there's this coordinate system tool up here. So this will give me this kind of bullseye, so I can line this up with a specific corner, and then I can kind of drag this azimuth to follow along a wall, and then I can title it if I want. And then click create. Then it lines everything up with that coordinate system. So that can be helpful if you want your cloud on a specific coordinate system. Once we get this into AutoCAD and Revit, I'm going to show you how to rotate this anyway, so you can choose to do that if you want, but it's not really necessary. The very last thing that I'm going to do before I bring this into Revit, you can create these clipping planes in Revit to get rid of like the trees and the yard and stuff like this, but I prefer to just cut it out of the cloud. I think it just makes things a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm in my bundle cloud here. I'm going to look from the top down, and I'm just going to delete everything but the house. And kind of just section off the box or the house. And I'm going to say delete outside. All right, so now things look a little bit better. I'm going to clean these trees up a little bit like this. And then this last tree. So this looks really good. Now I'm really happy with this. So I'm going to go ahead and export this out for AutoCAD and Revit. So I'm going to switch over to my Finalize tab. It's going to ask me to finalize my sitemap. This is really just for the report if you're interested in that. I'm going to accept the sitemap and then accept the results here. So it does give you this registration report with all these metrics if you're interested. But I'm going to skip right to the publish options. And because this is going straight into Autodesk, I'm going to export an RCP file. So this is Autodesk's native format. I'm going to save it right to my desktop. And I'm going to include the setups, just because. Another option that you can choose to do is this LGS file. I'm also going to, in my next tutorials, I'm going to give you this LGS file to work with. It can be extremely helpful. You'll see why in those tutorials. Now I'm going to click publish, and this is going to export out. So this was really a new style of video for us. So if you liked it, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to get more stuff out like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.